that nobody believes in you, that you look like you are alone, that you're doing this. I want to understand what's those things that are driving you so hard to be believing in Biafra and hoping that this is going to get to this height, that at the end of the day it's going to be something that the whole world will love to participate in. And secondly, I want to make an announcement, Marty. Biafrans here in India, we would love to have you speak to us in India. Because I understand that a lot of people, Biafrans here, are much interested in what we're doing. Even those that are not, they claim they are not Biafrans, they claim that they don't want to belong to IPOB. Today, I have the opportunity to speak to a lot of them, and they are really turning to listen to what we're saying. So it's going to be a great one for you to be able to rise your spirit, and not only here in India, but across Asia. They really want to hear you speak to us, and as well, I want to tell you that here we have our people, the way they behave and the way people other parts of the world behave is different. Here we have what I call the doubt issue. So even till now, some of them might not really understand. They might not really understand that whatever they put is going to IPOB directly. So for us to clear all that, I would love you to speak to Biafrans here in India, and also retrace that to other parts of Asia. That's my question and my contribution this morning. Thank you so much, Mazi, for giving me this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will answer your question. The very first question you asked. I will say that you asked me to explain to fellow principal officers what motivates, what drives the level of consistency is the promise of Elohim. I will take you back to what David Ben-Gurion said, the very first Prime Minister of Israel. What he said when they asked him at the floor of the United Nations what propels him to create, or should I say, to facilitate the coming of the state of Israel. He said it's the promise of God in the Holy Book. We call it the Bible, we call it the Torah. That was what David Ben-Gurion said. They asked him, why are you doing what you're doing? He said it is because he is standing on the promise of the Almighty Creator of the universe, that Israel must come. And on the same, should I say, pronouncement, I anchor my very firm belief in the coming of Biafra. I told you before that I read a book, or should I say a pamphlet, 1985 Ajok lecture, delivered by Professor Donald Morgan. I was traveling from Umuahia to Were. I was in a highest bus, and I was reading that very pamphlet. I'm not going to tell you how, because you can work out how old I was in 1985. I think I then barely turned between 17 and 18 years of age. I read that very pamphlet, and it had a very profound effect on me. In that very lecture that Professor Donald Morgan delivered, in that man in one paragraph summarized what was happening to us as a people, because every 1 kilometer was a checkpoint. Extortion, harassment, intimidation, and from childhood I never wanted anybody to be maltreated. I hate it. I hate injustice from childhood. And what we are doing today, what I'm doing today, is a manifestation of that very orientation that I had. You know, in my house, we used to have a lot of helpers. You know, either people from my mother's side or people from my father's side who will come to help, you know, as house helper, you know, help, all the rest of it. I had one. He's now in the watch, and I'm sure he's listening to this very day. His name is Emmanuel. Roughly about the same age as me, he came from my mother's side to help us in our house. We had a very huge household, so to help with the chores. We went to fetch water together. We ate from the same pot. We wear the same clothes. Sometimes we exchange clothes. During holiday time, I would go to his house for holidays. He was not serving me. I wasn't serving him because I did not believe that another person's child should come to serve another person's child. I don't believe in that. Even at that very small early age, must have it in you to love your people. It is not something you are taught to do. You must have it inside you to love and to serve your people. If you are living in India and India is doing very well, people are living in Malaysia, living across the whole of Southeast Asia, and that those countries are doing very well. If you want to live there without replicating those things back home, that is making you to enjoy life in those places, that means you are an evil person shouldn't serve. Allow me to repeat. If you travel to America, you travel to Europe, you see skyscrapers, you see wonderful roads, you see beautiful bridges and beautiful houses, you fail to bring it back, or you fail to think, how can I take these things back to something? That means you are not cut out to serve your people. Because as a servant of your people, anywhere you see something good, you want to bring it back to your own people. Therefore, those who are called into service are those who are naturally made and built for this very calling. But it is very, very, and some of you are saying it's very difficult, sometimes it's very hard. Our people can be very, very frustrating. Do not look at people, look at the end goal. Always focus on the objective: freedom, freedom, freedom for everybody. When Biafra does come, of course it's going to come, when it does come eventually, let me tell you how I console myself sometimes. Look at the way we revere, we love, and we venerate, and he did not get us Biafra. Look at the way we love and venerate Timothy Omwazuli and all those that fought. Imagine the love we have for Colonel Chusia and all the rest of them. The love we have for Mogosi and all the rest of them. Remember the love we have for the lives of Madiebo and all the rest of them. Did they get Biafra for us? The answer is no. Now imagine what will happen to your name when Biafra comes. Forever, you see the way that the Bible till today have we forgotten about Moses, Joshua, Caleb? Have you forgotten them? You have not. These are people that fought and released Israel, the children of God, to inhabit the land that God gave to them. Today, remember them. Let me tell you honestly, before heaven and this earth, anybody who is part of this very movement, from the highest to the lowest, there will be a time when your grandchildren will go to school, or your great-great-grandchildren, they will ask them, was your mom or dad part of IPOB? That will be all you will require in life to succeed. In other words, if you are serving IPOB, if you are in IPOB, you are preparing yourselves for immortality. This flesh may die, but your name will live forever and ever. Because we appreciate. Let me tell you, there is something our people don't know. Despite our stubbornness, our high-headedness, our sometimes very difficult way of understanding each other or doing things, our people are very, very appreciative of those that serve them in truth and in every honesty. That is who we are. Our people never forget those that serve them honestly and diligently. The same way we remember Mbakweti today. Who is going to forget Dr. Michael Obama? It's impossible. That is who we are. We never forget those that serve us in truth. We know that Obama served us in truth and in every honesty. He built our land. We know that Mbakweti came. Exactly what I told you before. What is it that Obama and Mbakweti have in common? They went abroad. They saw good things abroad and they brought it back home. Why do you think that Malaysia is developed? If you're a minister in Malaysia, you travel abroad, you didn't bring back any idea, they will sack you. That means your trip abroad is a waste. What did you learn? Bring it back here. Let us replicate it. What you are doing and other principal officers all over the world, building up what I call an identity of immortality. Forever and ever, your lineage, your children will remember and celebrate it. Can you imagine if today somebody were to come to you to say, I am from the lineage of Joshua, or from the lineage of Moses? I'm sure even if you're sitting there, you stand because we are bringing down or calling down the kingdom of heaven upon this very earth, as Yeshua prayed. Let thy will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. Thank you very much. Let's take this call. The caller on the line, can you hear me? Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yes, my street leader, Mazen Namde Kano, the street leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. God Biama be with you because we're doing a normal job to save the life of Biafra, not only the life of Biafrans, to save the black race from the shackles of Tamnatgo Republic of the Sioux and in Africa as a whole. My name is Ibn Mazi Ezewembuchechi. I'm calling from the city of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Mazi, what I want to ask you right now, you have reiterated that, you have touched it from the last caller before me. But what I want to ask, because we have known there is a lot of benefits we are going to get, but Mazi, there's something confusing me. Some of the Biafrans or some of the IPOB, those that claimed that they have joined IPOB, they don't attend the meeting. They are IPOB under oath. They came to meeting and took oath with IPOB. Some people come to the meeting from 2 years, 3 years, 6 months. They don't contribute time. They don't pay monthly dues. They don't pay any kind of levy you bring out or you brought out in IPOB. When you go talk to them private, they have now reminding, don't know what you are telling me. I am IPOB under oath. They have taken oath on IPOB. Therefore, I am IPOB. You're not going to deprive me of my IPOB membership. These are the people who you remind you that they have been on IPOB for 8 years ago, 2017, 2015. But for since more than 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, he has never even paid common 20 common time to his monthly dues. We don't talk about other compulsory levy. So my question is, what is the position of these people? Because if you try to talk to them even private, they will now remind you that, mind you, I am IPOB. I'm under oath. I took the oath you took with me. And some people will be trying all their best, spend their time, attend meetings, paying the dues, pay all that losing, do even do evangelism, do a lot of things to make sure that we awaken the consciousness of our people living in, especially I'm saying this in Malaysia precisely. They claim they are with you, with IPOB, but they are not doing anything in IPOB. Call it dues, call it attend the meeting. They don't do, but they say they are IPOB, they're under oath. So where are we going to place them? Or what is it going to happen with this sort of people? Because it's known in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, precisely. Thank you, Mazi, and Chuko Gabiawa. Continue to be with you for what you are doing for Biafra. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mazi.
you very much, sir. Thank you. There are fair weather friends. There are those that will fall by the wayside. I remind you of the parable of the sower. As you scatter the seed, some will fall on fertile soil, some will fall on rocky grounds, some will fall on the sand, some may even fall on thorns. Only those that fell on fertile ground will be able to germinate and bear forth fruit. For those people shall be called the sons of God Almighty in heaven and daughters of God. Not everybody that says, my father will enter heaven. And with that, I bring that to an end. You will understand what I'm talking about. And Elohim is in charge. And we are moving forward. Forget about them and go into work. The caller on the line, can you hear me?
Yes, Mazi. Good afternoon from here. I'm calling from Malaysia.
From Malaysia as well. Please go ahead, one listening. Please go ahead. Are you one of those that don't pay their dues in Malaysia? You don't attend meetings?
Not really, Mazi.
Okay.
I do. My name is Ifeanyi.
If I turn down your system, I can hear your system. Turn it down, please. Turn your system down.
Okay, Mazi. I am.
Go ahead.
My question is this.
conscience that is pursuing them. Wike needed to deny his Igbo identity in order to serve his Fulani masters very, very well. Wike knows that he's an Igbo man, but he is ravaged by guilty conscience. Some of them, their fathers stole properties that didn't belong to them. And in our land, it's a taboo. In Igbo land, in Igbo culture, it's a taboo for you to steal landed property belonging to your brother, your cousin, or your sister. For them to shield themselves from the ravages of guilt, they said they are not Igbo. Of course, Igbo is Igbo. Have you not seen the new state creation that they are touting all over the place, the Fulani Janjaweed? They want to create a state comprising of people, Igbo people, as well as those of them they took from Omo, which are Igbo people, into a new state. Do not despair. No Igbo person, no sensible Igbo man said he is not Igbo. Let me tell you what has been happening in Zoo and what they do very cleverly. Before now, when the Yoruba media was against us in line with the Janjaweed, they magnify what idiots like we can say. What ordinary people are. Anytime you say, I am Igbo, nobody will publish it. But if you say, I am Igbo, I'm not Igbo, every paper will carry it. That is why it is always very good for us to read between the lines. Forget about the noise making of a few empty barrels, like we can, and listen to the voice of reason of other well-meaning Igbo sons and daughters. They know that. Everybody knows this very clearly. Some of them claim they are from Igoromigoro. I don't dispute that. But Igoromigoro is also Igbo land. If it comes
Well,
that way.
you've answered I've answered the question because I see no reason why someone that speaks Igbo, that do everything like Igbo, will begin to deny his identity.
When you lose a war, it's always like that. When you lose a war, it's always like that. We fought a war of attrition for 3 years. The Fulani Janjaweed came and gave biscuit and chewing gum and tobacco to some people and kai hot drink to some people and say, one Nigeria. If you don't say you're one Nigeria, will kill you. I had a good brother of ours from Ikam speak to me. And he told me, this is a so-called Delta or Delta Igbo. He told me that they're from Uri. His father was the traditional ruler of his people. Every year, Ezeri will come to their village and sprinkle clay on the ground. They're from Uri. That's the way it is. Till tomorrow morning, we know who we are. Those claiming they are not Igbo, they're living in denial. And I go as far as saying that everybody is Igbo. If you're in John, and I say it clearly, go back and interpret it however way you want it to interpret it. The truth stands eternal. And I keep saying to them, are you doubting me? That all of us are evil? One that doubted me a few days ago, I said to him, go back to Google and Google the word Ibibio. After he Googled the word Ibibio, see, he said, related to Igbo. I asked him to Google Efik. He Googled Efik. What can you see? Efik and Ibibio are one. Both are related to Igbo. I asked him to Google a job. He Googled a job. I asked him, read to me what you can see. He saw a job related to Igbo. I said to him, do you want us to continue? He said, no, he's seen enough. And that was it. That is the truth. We are all one people. That is why insipidity came. That is why if you go to Abreba today, they speak the same language, or more or less, with the Bibio people. If you go to Ijaram, there is no difference between Ijaram and Arochukwu. It is the same thing. That is why insipidity came from there. Insipidity is a uniting form of writing that binds the whole of Biafra together. If you go to places like about the war between the two people and the other, and he will tell you everything we say is backed up with facts and figures. That is why we can never fail, and our people are very intelligent. That's one thing about Biafran people. Once you make sense to them, they will understand and they will follow you. I have a caller now on the line. This caller, give us your name and where you're calling from. We are live and we are direct to the world.
My name is good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Charles Obidike.
Charles Obidike. Yes, and where are you calling from?
Yeah,
Charles Obidike, where are you calling from?
Good morning, sir.
We are live on the air. Please hold on a second. We are live on the air. Please, our barrister is calling me. We are broadcasting. We are live on the air. Yes, please continue. My dear brother, continue.
Okay. So, I don't know. It pains me each time you come on air and start talking about the black man, the way they reason and all this. And I'm one of the black man, but I know I've never reasoned like that because even up to today, I am not an IPO member. I'm not an IPO member, but I have been following what you have been saying since 2014 till today. And no one has ever seemed to be lying. All of them are truth. And you make me to become like as I've gone to university more than the people that was my age mate. I'm 64 years of today. But all these things you are saying in this country and wherever you are, they are all truth and nothing but truth. And it pains me when anybody is making any argument concerning this, concerning that. I don't know, people will see truth, but the level we are in it today is because of our church in this country, Nigeria. They are the part of the problem. 80% of the problem, they are the one who caused it. Because in the Bible, when Elijah and Elisha and all of them were prophesying or doing the work of God, when you do something that is not good, even the king, they will go and tell him. Because I remember what happened in 2 Kings chapter 1, when a king fell from his house and then decided to go and ask the God of Ekron whether if he will live again. Elijah met his servant that he sent on the road to tell him that you should go back and tell the king, is it because there's no God in Israel? That is why you are going to ask the God of Ekron. And because of that, you will die. You will never get up from that bed. And when the man sent people to come and kill the Elijah, first 50% of people with their captain, they died. Fire consumed them. The second one, the same thing. The third one came and began to dialogue, beg, in other words. And when he followed them, the angel of God asked him to go and follow them. And when they get to that place, he told the king rightly that because you went to go and look other God that is not God, you will die. Then today, look at people we have in our church. Somebody like Redeem, who is calling us to go and come and go to heaven, knows that there is no God, and he went as wrong, and he came back, and people were asking him, what did he say there? He said he was threatening not to talk. And up to today, he never tell anybody anything. And yet they are telling us to come and pay. I have said I will no longer go to church until when Biafra come, before we know what we are doing. All the people, Christians are killing in the north. Nobody is talking. No church is talking.
They are building auditoriums. And we're going to build 10,000 auditoriums. Whereas Christians are being killed in the north. So they say nothing. I don't blame them. I blame Christians that go to these useless, idiotic churches and patronize them. I blame them. But in all fairness, there are some Christians that have come out recently to condemn what is happening. There are good ones amongst them. Let us not tar them with the same brush.
Just tell me, somebody will look a factory closed and close the factory, then convert that factory to church and begin to pray for you to get work. Does that make any sense? You close the factory where people will pray to work.
Yes, convert it to church and then we pray.
If it is suffering to this length, people will get to understand. So I appreciate you. Only thing is that my God will continue to supply all your needs according to his riches, glory by Christ Jesus. I pray that no evil shall befall you in your life, with your family. You will actualize it and make us to be human beings again in the mighty name of Jesus. That is my prayer for you this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much, my dear brother. Everybody approach this issue. It's parcel of that glorious family. I love Odyssey immensely, immensely. Let me see if I can get him to speak to us, please. I want to ask him, he's a pastor. I want to ask him if he is related to Odyssey or Odyssey, one-time principal at Government College Umwai. I want to ask him. I have elected to try to call him back to see if he can speak to us. I don't think so. The line is ringing, but I don't think he is not picking up, not yet. I wanted to find out if he is. Yes, he's picked up now. The caller on the line, are you Pastor Odyssey or Odyssey? Is that correct?
Yes, I'm Pastor Odyssey. I'm from Abriba.
You're from Abriba. Yes. Are you related to the principal of Government College Umwaya? Odyssey or Odyssey?
No, I'm not related to, but it is closer to near to our village.
Okay, the same village, but not yours. Okay. It seems, are you a pilot? It seems you're flying an aircraft. There's a background noise where you are.
No, I am inside a metro. I'm going to work, but at the same time, that's what I'm trying to communicate with you this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Pastor Odyssey Odyssey. It's the first time I introduce myself as a pastor because many people don't know I am a pastor. But I always say my name is Odyssey Odyssey. But today I decided to introduce myself as a pastor ordained by the Biafran. And the pastor is in German today. His name is Pastor Sami Eko. He's living in German today. He's a Biafran too. And my question this morning is concerning the oil well that the Nigerian government are taking, and it seems that when the northern oligarchy have both the gold and the other mineral resources, they call it their personal own, but our own become a national case. How, when are we going to take back all our things? Because the world seems that they are not listening what we are saying, or the campaign we have been sending to them letter from UN and other angle of the world, but they keep moved and they keep watching, looking for us to die until they will come to our rescue. I think is it the time that we're supposed to take back our things and pursue all the white people that are taking all control in our land? That the war that we are looking for, they can be able to get it, or are we going to stay until they wipe off from the face of the earth? That's my question, my leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for that. The truth of the matter is that the people giving the impetus to the Fulani Janjaweed to keep their gold and their diamond from Zamfara, but be drinking our own oil, is because of the people are the likes of Wike, Amechi, Lopos, and all the Fulefus. If they get together and say enough is enough, there will be no oil going to the north. They will try to bring down their army and will defeat them. Nigerian army cannot fight. They are very weak. Everybody knows that they can't fight. That is why they are begging for the mercenaries. That's why they are begging Cameroon, they are begging Chad, they are begging Niger, poorest countries in the world, to come and help the giants of Africa to fight. This is one thing that people do not understand. They are being deceived by the war that happened. People think till today that that Nigeria fought a war against Biafra and defeated Biafra, that Gowon was an all-conquering general. It is a lie. It is a lie. Without the help, without Britain, Russia, OAU to an extent, Egypt, and the acquiescence of the USA, there is no way that Nigeria could have defeated Biafra. It's not in a million years. This is some army that cannot even defeat a ragtag band of terrorism or bandits. And we should do away with fear. Fear is a debilitating disease. They are taking our oil and gas because we allowed ourselves to become divided and deceived. They appointed the Willings Commission to divide the so-called Niger Delta or carve them away from the wider eastern region.
be
yoked by Fulani. No. These are the things that people do not understand about the state.
what is the price of
The
being
reason why they are angry
to
with IPOB
US
and
dollars?
trotting out all this propaganda against us and my good self is
What is the
because
price of
they
being?
know we know their game. And we have discovered their game plan. We now know how possible it was for an Igbo man to say I'm not Igbo, for somebody from a church
What
to
is
say,
the
oh,
price of
I'm
being
not
to
part
US
of the
dollars?
East or part of Biafra. That was how they deceived Edwin Clark of Pandef. So they can take our oil. That was how they deceived Cancer Weaver. So they can go and take our oil. Today, Ogoni hasn't been cleaned up. Today, people are suffering in Ogoni land, whereas the Sultan of Sokoto owns nearly 20 oil wells in Biafra land. None of us owns an oil well. You need to understand what they have done to us and how we are going to untangle it. And it's a very simple process. By educating and enlightening our people to understand that we are one, first and foremost. That is why the Fulanis, for Fulanis to subjugate you, they come with one north. They never divide the north. They will tell you we are one north. One. If you try to divide Fulani from Hausa, they will say no, we are one people. But they come to your land, then you allow them to divide you. That makes you a very big fool. Let's take this call. The caller on the line, can you hear me? This is the from live and direct. Please turn your system down. I beg all of you, please. Turn down your system. When once I pick your call, turn off your system. Because what I'm going to say, the whole world is going to hear it. What you're saying, the whole world is also going to hear it. You don't need to hear your voice 2 times, do you? Please, go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Muhammad Ike, I have a question for you. How are you doing, my lord?
Elohim is kind to us.
God bless you. Thank you. Sir, my question is this. I have 3 questions. One is this. What do you want to tell our Biafrans who see themselves serving in Nigerian police, in Onitsha, in Owerri, in Aba, in Ebonyi, killing and humiliating their brothers? A brother who is a Keke Napep driver, who put a flag of Biafra in his Keke. Our Nigeria, our Biafran brother who serves in the Nigerian police will detain him and kill him. Who put a bangle of Biafran flag or Biafran identity, a bangle or a necklace, something that gives you hope and joy, something that you look at, you summon courage, something that you look at the logo or the flag, you move on, irrespective of the suffering and the hardship, you move on. Our Biafran police, who is in Aba, who is in Owerri, who is in Oka, who is in Enugu, will kill, detain, and humiliate that person. That is my number 1 question. What message do you have for such an individual who is an
That their end is coming.
Biafran?
Their end is also coming, and there will be no pity, there will be no mercy. We have all their names.
Who has a child who is suffering in the same dilapidated school, in the same abandoned area, in the same gutter that all of us are living? He's there with us. That's my number 1 question. My number 2 is this. What message do you have for our so-called pastors who has refused to open their mouth and say the truth, who continue to deceive us to pray for Nigeria when they know that God will not answer that question? What message do you have for them? Now, my number 3 question is this. You have said it over and over again, and it is truth. All you have said is the truth, and we know you are saying the truth, and that is why we must follow you. We will continue to follow you. You said it, and it is written that the kingdom of God suffereth the violent, and the violent take it by force. My Lord, my question is this to you is this. One time again in America, you told a lady when you were having a meeting with them, you said, let them give us ammunition. The lady said that she did not hear you well. What did you say? You repeated that question. Now it has come. My question again is this. Are we going to fight? If we are going to fight, are there things that we need to have? Those who cannot fight, like a sword, or those who do not have the liver to withstand the sin, let them start running now. If I was living in the north. I lived in the north. I lived in Nasarawa. I lived in Plateau. I lived in Kano. I come back home. So are we going to fight? Because the lady who asked you that question, what did you say you need? Yeah, I keep listening to that message, that family meeting you had with them. I keep listening to it over and over again. When she asks you, what did you say you did? Today, I think wherever that lady is, she will be going to, I think from Wodibo Congress anyway, she will be listening to that message where you told them what you need openly. And then she refused. I don't know whether they honored that meeting that day or what. I accepted your request, but today they have brought that killing to our house. And it is real. It is true that they brought it.
I will answer your question, my dear brother. Listen via your listening device. Let me answer your question. Number one, we are keeping track of every police officer or personnel involved, especially Biafrans, in the molestation, in the facilitation of the abduction of our people. And I'm telling their families now that there will be no mercy. We are going to succeed. It's not a question of if. We are going to bring about the coming of Biafra. There is nothing any idiot can do about it. Nothing. And when that time comes, we are going to judge you very harshly. And if you're found guilty, you'll be hanged at the nearest tree closest to your father's compound. All of you in police uniform in our land aiding Fulani Janjaweed, the same Fulani you're helping to abduct your own fellow blood relatives, are helping bandits and terrorists to kill your people in the north. I want you to understand all these useless, especially those in Igbo State. Hope for them will never ever be forgiven. It's something as we, for me, goes for me as well. All of you claiming you are obeying order came from above. When the time comes, God is my witness, you will be hanged in public for aiding and abating Fulani Janjaweed that should I say incursion into our land. As for the pastors, may God have mercy upon your wretched, idiotic souls. There are good pastors here, but all of you that have kept quiet, all of you keeping quiet, despite what is happening, Archbishop Desmond Tutu fought apartheid from the pulpit. All of you, some of you, it's about tithe and offering and building auditorium that will contain skeletons. I'm asking you, shameless people call themselves the men of God, more or less like the men of Satan. All of you will see the kingdom of heaven because you're all evil people using the name of God to deceive, using the name of God to accumulate wealth, using the name of God to do heaven knows what, to prop up a decaying evil regime. You ask me, what do we need to fight? We need guns and we need bullets. Because let me make one thing very clear to all of you, those of you who are so idiotic because you were raised in the zoo, you schooled in the zoo, all you're thinking is about the Zoological Republic. You know nothing about Fulani Janjaweedism. What they are doing to you today is in their bone marrow, is in their DNA, they will never stop. The only thing that can stop Fulani is the sea, North, you are a sacrificial lamb. And on that note, we bring today's proceedings to an end. I will try to reinstate this question and answer every Friday to answer the idiots and the rumor mongers and the liars and the deceivers and the conspirators. Guardian newspaper has published the same rubbish again. Anytime we are making waves, what they want to do is that they bribe Google and they trot out all these useless, concocted write-ups by DSS and they populate the search. If you go to Google now, search for Mars and search for Nnamdi Kanu in Google, you will see them. What happened in the registration of IPOB in England has made us to think twice and all that rubbish. All lies. A country of lies. How can I support a country that lives on peddling lies and deceiving people? As I said before, if not for IPOB, some of you learned illiterates will be going about thinking Ojukwu declared war on Biafra, whereas all Ojukwu wanted was restructuring, the same restructuring you're asking for after 50 years. Now, who is the idiot? Now you see why I call you people zoo animals, because you cannot listen properly. And that is why I maintain anybody who calls himself or